record last year, Long Road North. What's your favorite song of that record?
It's hard to answer because like all the songs, they have different missions to complete the whole album. So, I mean, I love, and also, I mean, some songs you love playing live more than others. For example, like I love playing Silver Arc. Maybe it's not the best song, but I love playing it. It's really fun. And I also love like the subject matter of the lyrics and Cold Burn is, I think that's a song that people felt like, okay, this is the one that's going to open the album. We had the opportunity, the privilege to work with Colin Stetson and Mariam and like all these guest stars. I love Colin's take on the Beyond. I love Mariam's take on it. I'm gonna give you the boring answer. Like I love all the songs. I think it was after we did the record with Julie. We just started writing music. It's continued, and then it wasn't like usually you write a bunch of songs, then you go in and record a record, and then you start over again. You write a bunch of. This was like we continued writing the whole process. So when we were in the studio recording for A Dawn to Fear, a bunch of the songs that ended up on the Rachel River and Long Road North was already written. And then we got out of the studio. We continued to write a few new songs that ended up on the Rachel River. And when we recorded a bunch of new songs that ended up on the.
You put a lot of effort into your light at the live shows.
We have always, from the start, I mean, we bought our own floor cans when we started touring 20 years ago. They weren't cheap for about, cost maybe like €1,000 or something like that, which was a lot of money for us. And we invested in that. We used to play with only backlights. So lights have always been like a great way of us communicating our music and trying to elevate it live. And when you grow bigger, you get a bigger budget. You could have put that money in your pocket, but we didn't. We blow it on lights instead. And also, it's all about us getting to know Alexi in the like 2006 or something like that. He was like a friend of ours that later became a light designer and later became our manager. So he followed us through all these years. He's like a part of the band. He used to be a light designer, but he quit that and now he's only a manager, but he does light design for only us.
You don't tell him how the lights are supposed to do, you just...
I mean, we have discussions, and sometimes I see music in colors. For example, Finland is a green song. So when you play that song, it's the color green.
You have a very strong voice, and when you sing you always have a very constant pressure. So is that something that you learned, or is it like your natural style of singing?
I've always done some vocals in this band, like from the start. But it was after like 3 records, I felt like, okay, Klaus, our previous vocalist, he's like, you know, he's like this natural, he just knows how to do it. And I felt like, okay, it's just a matter of time until he quit the band. So I better start practicing. And I kind of thought, like, he started to like teach me the basic of it. And I never fully learned how to do it properly, so I fucked up my voice all the time. Well, we did this tour with Julie Christmas, and I don't do much vocals. And we did the US tour, and I remember waking up and I wasn't able to speak because I fucked up my voice. And I thought, okay, this is not good. If we're gonna do this, like, I need to be able to talk to people. So I actually went to Melissa Cross. She's a vocal trainer for Stevie Vocal, like pretty much the only one. Went to her like just for 2 days. We were going at it for like 4 hours straight. And to be honest, she didn't teach me something I didn't know. I mean, you know that. I mean, if you scream from your throat, you're gonna, you know, it's all about the
pressure in your stomach.
But she was very good at pointing fingers. Like, this is how how you should do it. I still don't do it the way you should. I still technically suck, but this is the only way I can do it. A couple of years ago, I would probably not do this interview with you just to save my voice. I have a cold too. This is going to be very interesting tonight. I think I tried to copy Claude's voice and then it just stayed.
So there's actually the danger that you might destroy your voice, is it?
Well, that's always there, but at least now I know how not to. I learned how to. I should prevent it, but I'm not saying that I do.
Speaking of vocalists, how do you find your guest vocalists?
We always approach them, and very often that just like we have. It's not a lot. We haven't put a lot of thought into it. Very often it's just like a basic. How about? Oh, I love that person's voice, or should you? Oh, you know that person. Don't you know? Like, should you ask her? So it's more like you just.
Do you think you ever gonna make another final live record?
I wouldn't mind, and I think James, he seemed to be okay with trying it again. Both me and James are very busy people, so to find time to do it is another. But you never know.
What's your favorite Kult of Luna album cover?
Well, I think I need to say Somewhere Along the Highway. For many different reasons. It was such a special period in the band's, and in my life, for that matter. We've tried so many ways to do our thing in a different way, and we didn't have much ideas of how to do it with the artwork, how our music would be translated into art. And Eric is such an amazing graphic designer, and he came up with this amazing idea in a lot of different versions. And one thing I love about that cover is if you have the vinyl and you open it up, the gatefold, you have two barns. It looks like it's a Photoshop picture because you have it's perfect symmetry. Two barns standing like this, you have the forest line and all that. But it's not. It's not photoshopped at all. It's such a fantastic symmetric picture. And I drive by those two barns every time I go with the kids snowboarding. And that's the only idea I have for the next record. Is that I want to have another picture of those two barns in another season, because the seasons where we're from changed a lot, and it's the same picture can be used in different seasons, and it's gonna be completely different.
What's your favorite album cover in general?
It's an impossible question to answer because it all depends on what kind of music they play. The first Sabbath cover, for example, is amazing.
It's interesting because when I interviewed Kenmore, the bass player said the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of bands don't put enough effort into their artwork, because for me at least, and I think it actually goes for everybody, the artwork decides how you are going to perceive the music. It puts the atmosphere, it creates the world. It is basically a lens of how you watch the music play, and So I mean, you can have. I mean, of course, Unknown Pleasures with Joy Division is another one. Ball Thrower, their music. There is this period of time between 95 until 2010 when Photoshop was new and people didn't know how to use it. A lot of album covers sucked, but the cut and paste, there were so many punk albums. That's amazing. Start Today by Gorilla Biscuit and the Judge 7-inch, New York Crew. I mean, but that and that 7-inch you couldn't use that artwork for any other kind of music. It just fits the music perfectly.
You are also into movie production. like casting for some movies. How did you get into this area? Study movie or something?
Yeah. Moved to Stockholm, started working in the movie business, and like everybody should started from the bottom, and then I started working as a runner and assistant, stuff like that, and then I got into extras casting. I did extras directing on set, which means you sometimes have to cast smaller parts, and that's how I got into casting, and then I did one movie after another, and then all of a sudden you're a casting director. It's a fun job. Some projects are more fun than others, but I'm lucky that I've been able to do it for 10 years.
So what's your next movie project?
That's the thing. Everything I work on, I cannot talk about. But yeah, hopefully my producers will be able to finance a script I've written, and hopefully they'll be able to finance it so we can shoot it next year. Yeah, it's a fucked up story.
Okay.
Yep.
And what's your next music project?
I've written a lot of music this fall, but not to Cataluna, to other artists. And right now I'm done with everything. When you have things you need to do, and it's always like you have all this weight on your shoulders. Like, okay, I cannot start working with Cataluna before I write that song to that person and that blah blah blah. And now I've done that, so now I'm free. Now I can do anything. And that's what I'm really looking forward to, is that I haven't written a single riff to Cataluna yet, and I haven't written anything for
this year. So the next Cataluna record will probably take a bit more time.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will not tour until the next album is out. We will take a shorter break. We don't tour that often. We don't make long tours. But it felt like we've gone through Europe now.
And then you have like your own festival, your duet. So you organized it?
Well, I wouldn't say organize it. I pointed fingers on what bands I want to see.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Hayden Britland from Northern Music kind of organized it. We might take Beyond the Redshift to other cities with other bands, and like with the basic idea of creating a familiar event with everybody feels like their family. That might happen, but we're not going to.